Hello everyone, and welcome. I'm VelvettB, and thanks for joining me today for the Country Cottage Retreat Speed Build. So, if you don't know me at all, if it's your first time here on the channel, I am a big lover of The Sims. I love building in The Sims, I love playing in The Sims, and I even like a little bit of CAS in The Sims as well. I'm not saying I'm the best in the world at all of these things, but what I am saying is that I enjoy them, I have fun, and I'd like you to come along and have fun with me as well. So I hope that you do. So you're probably wondering what exactly is going on here. Good question. So this is actually a renovation challenge. So we were given this house, and this is a renovation challenge that was hosted by the lovely Nasena, who is a friend of mine. And basically what you have to do is you have to renovate this house. Now, the thing with this is that you are given clients. So there were clients that you download from the gallery, and you take those clients and you put them onto the lot, and you've already placed a lot. And basically the client's budget plus whatever you can sell from the renovation is your budget for the build. So we are working on a budget, and much like a shell challenge, with this challenge you can't change the exterior walls, and the addition to this is that you can't change the porches. There is another little twist to this in that each of the clients has likes and dislikes, so you kind of have to work to those clients' likes and dislikes as well. So some of the things that they might like are, for example, black, the color black, the color pink, the color white, the color red, and the color yellow, which is some of the colors that the clients did like in this build. And you know, you've got those little challenges, and they might like some particular types of decor, that sort of thing, and they might have some hobbies that you need to think about as well. So like, you know, there were a couple of them that might like handiness, for example, in this build, so you want to try and include a little bit of a handiness aspect to your build. So that's the fun challenge that I was working to in this particular build. And so what I did is I took the rather ugly original house and I've turned it into a country cottage retreat. So you can sort of see me starting to build that there and starting to shape the yard. Now I did put aside some items because I was like, maybe I might want to use them, because when you sell items, when you have the Sims on the lot, what happens is that those items sell, I think it's for about 25% less than what their value is. So if I was going to sell one of the items and then rebuy it, I would be paying more for that item than what I sold it for, if that makes sense. So I was thinking maybe I'll save some items and that'll help me with my budget, but you'll see a little bit later on, I just delete those. I don't end up keeping any of them at all. I did keep the original porch though, so that's still there. You can sort of see that there from the color of it. And that was the only porch that was on the build, so we just kept that, and I just added to it as well. So I am building in Hemford-on-Bagley. I don't know what it was about this house, but when I looked at it and at the shape of it, what I got from that was a cottage. So that's where my mind went, so that's what I built. And I decided to actually do something a little bit larger as far as the lot size, because the original lot size was 30 by 20, and I went bigger than that. I went with a 50 by 40 lot, which is a fairly large size lot in the game. It's actually one of the, in Hemford-on-Bagley, there's like the Mill, is it Mill Lane? Along the side there, towards the right side of the map. And they have like the 3 lots kind of going down on that side, and they're quite large lots. And I chose, I think it's 3 Mill Lane. I think it's the one in the middle. Or, don't quote me on that. But it's one of the Mill Lane lots anyway. And yeah, basically, I don't know. I just kind of felt like I wanted to do a country vibe. Now, I don't know what happened along the way. So I did this really cool thing with the fencing, and I thought it was going to be, you know, a little bit of a rundown look. It would look quite cool. And this is debug fencing, by the way. And I set this all up, and at some point along the way, I don't know what happened. I must have done something or deleted something, or something happened. And I think about 90% of this that I'm doing right now disappears. So I end up having to redo this, and I do something different because I was like a little bit concerned that that would happen again. So I was like, okay, change of idea, and we'll get rid of it. So I left it in because I thought it was like quite a cool idea. Like the idea was there, but it just like something happened somewhere at some point in the build where it just made it disappear. And that happens in The Sims. Like sometimes you'll do something in a build, like maybe you'll shift something around or you'll delete something and it'll delete something else randomly off somewhere else. And I don't know why or how that happens, but it does happen from time to time. So I think that was the case there. Something happened along the way. But anyway, you can sort of see how the build itself is starting to shape up. And then around the rest of the build, I wanted to really create like I don't know, my thought was that we had these clients, right? And it's a family of three, so two female Sims and a little, I think it's a toddler or an infant. I put a toddler bed in, so it must be a toddler. And they have been living in the city, but basically they're kind of over it. They're like, oh, we're so sick of living in the city. We don't want to live there anymore. We want to get out of the city and we want to have this beautiful cottage country retreat or country cottage retreat, whatever I called this. And they move out to the country and they buy this beautiful, beautiful house. Well, it's actually kind of an ugly house, and I renovated it for them and made it more beautiful and more country and more retreaty, and just give them some animals so they can kind of live off the land. They want to live the simple life, a little farmlet, like not a big farmlet because they don't have the time or the energy or the funds for a giant big farm, but they can just afford like this little farmlet off the main road outside of the village of Henford on Bagley, and they're going to set up life there, and they're going to live off the land. They're going to grow their own vegetables and fruit, and they're going to do their own fixing up around the place because they're going to have their woodworking table, and they're going to have a cow, and they're going to have chickens, and it's going to be fabulous. And they'll be able to have their friends over for a little hangout, and they're going to have these beautiful views from their porches in the evening. They'll be able to sit there and have a couple of nectars and yeah, just chill out after a long day of working on the land and living their simple life. And it just seems so much nicer than living in the city. So this is what I kind of had in my head when I was building this build, and just what the characters kind of wanted. And this is how I kind of saw the characters. I felt like they'd been very urban, an urban family, and they were just like, you know what, we're over it. We're going into the country, and we're going to live a different life, and we're going to live a simple life, and it's going to be healthier and better, and it's going to be a better place to raise our kid. And I totally get that. That's something that I wanted for my kids as well. Just something, getting out of the city and living in a smaller town, and having a better life for that, because city living can be challenging for particularly a kid growing up or kids growing up in the world. So I don't know. Just I think it's just sometimes how you're feeling as a person as well, isn't it? It's just like either you love the city or you don't, and I don't think I'm a city lover, but each to their own as well. So I haven't talked about this, but this is actually a limited pack build. So I made this with 3 packs, and this is cottage living, horse ranch, and life and death, and that's it. 3 packs. So there wasn't a particular reason for that, other than the fact that I just kind of felt like I didn't need any more than that. Like that was going to be everything that I needed. Like it's really heavy on cottage living, very obviously. We're in Henford on Bagley. We're doing a cottage vibe. Cottage living makes sense. Horse ranch works so well with cottage living as far as creating that rustic kind of vibe, and life and death actually works really well with the countryside sort of pastoral kind of build as well. So I felt like those 3 packs were going to be absolutely perfect for this build, and really I just didn't essentially need anything else. That was kind of it. So that's what I build with, and I think that makes it nice and accessible for people on the gallery, so they can kind of download that and add that to their game if they feel like it, and it's just nice and easy to get your hands on. So why not? But I feel like sometimes if you don't need to use a whole lot of packs, why not go a little bit simpler? So not only are the Sims out there and they're living their wonderful simple life, but Velvet here is building very simply with just the 3 packs plus base game. And the holiday pack, because I use the lights at some point. Like, you know how the holiday pack has those little dangling lights? But honestly, I always count the holiday pack as base game because it's free and everybody can access it for free. So I don't understand why they do that as a different pack, to be honest. Because it's kind of like you say base game only, but then you have a holiday pack in it, and then it's kind of a little odd to say it's base game only, but really it is base game only. Anyway, it's just one of those weird arguments I always have in my head, and I don't know if anybody else does this, but I always just run it over and over in my head when I say base game only, but I've used the holiday pack, and then I just get caught up in the pedantic, labeling of it all, and it's just like, no, it's fine. It's fine. It is base game. Everybody can access it. It's just part of the game as it stands. And anyway, see, I'm doing it again. I can't help myself. I just get caught in this loop in my head when I'm thinking about it. And I just, round and round, one of those weird things that just really gets stuck in my head. Anyway, moving on to the build. So, there's always the problem or the challenge, I guess, with when you're doing terrain modification and you have something like a hill in the game. Depending on the gradient of that hill, or how sharp it is, how deep it kind of goes, how high it goes, it can be quite challenging to landscape or add anything to. And this was definitely the case with this particular hill because it is quite a large hill off to the side, and I don't particularly know why I wanted a hill off to the side. It just was in my head when I started the build, and I just ran with it. Just sometimes you have this thing in your head, and you just kind of go with it. And there's not necessarily a particular reason for it. It's just the vision in your head and how you want to do something. It's how I wanted to do it, and it's how I did it. And, but there was the trouble of what to do with that hill, and I couldn't add much to it, to be honest. It just looked like everything was floating, which was a frustration. And I mean, I knew that going in. I worked with enough hills to know that hills are frustrating, so it is pretty plain and simple, and that's the reason for it. It is hard to decorate. There's ways around it, but I'm not using tool or anything like that. I'm just using your building cheats basically to build this, so I'm not spending hours modifying or adding to a hill with a mod or anything. Just keeping it simple, because we are simple living today, and it's all about simplicity. Simple packs, simple landscaping, and I think just keeping it simple for a hill, like, it made sense for the style of the build as well. So yes, I kind of had to talk myself into that concept because I'm used to just like decorating so much, and it's just like sometimes I really need to pull back and just simplify. And I felt like I did a decent job of pulling back and simplifying with this build. I'm trying to get better at it. It's one of those little things that I'm trying to work on as a builder, not overdoing it with the landscaping. Like, it doesn't have to be covered in flowers and this and that and the next thing. It can just be simply a hill, and that's what I went with. So I'm building like an extra wall here around the back, as you can see here. So I've stacked up some of the life and death windows and added a spandrel and column, and that's just created a false wall down the back. And it's just like a little covered in porch area that I've turned into like a little socialization, gaming kind of cute little area with a bar, which you'll see me put in there at the moment. And just before, I did create like a lower level area as well around the back, which we'll get back to very shortly, but you can sort of see that I've done that as well, and I use a round shape around there too, just to create like just a point of interest around the back. And I thought, you know what, we'll just add a bit of that urban styling to their contemporary, to their cottage house. They're bringing a bit of their city life with them, and have like a little entertainment area where their friends can kind of come and they can hang out, and just to add a point of interest to the backyard, as you do. But this is me trying not to overdo it. As you do. I'm trying not to overdo it so much, but like leaving blank spaces is it's hard, right? Because you just kind of want to decorate and fill them, or at least I do. So, as I said, just leaving those blank is just such a challenge for me. It's like, well, it's blank, because in my head I think blank is boring, and that's not necessarily true at all. I don't feel like blank is boring at all. It's just a mindset in my head that I need to reprogram, I think. And not be afraid of just leaving some grass there. Like, grass by itself is absolutely fine and perfectly normal to have a lawn. It's okay to have a lawn, and to have something that is just simply landscaped, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just one of those battles that I constantly fight as a builder with myself. And I don't know if you guys have those battles, like, as builders, or when you are building in the Sims. You might not necessarily be a builder, but you might just enjoy watching builds. But when you are in the game, do you have those little challenges where you kind of have to fight yourself on these certain things, and just try not to habitually do this certain thing all of the time? And this is one of those things that I am just very much, it's a habit to want to fill all the spaces, and I kind of do fight myself on it all the time. And this is one of those builds where I really was fighting that urge just to fill all the spaces, and I don't know why. It's just like I didn't need to, and as I said, it's just one of those funny things in my head. I really struggled with what to do around that front area of the house. Like, I tried a variety of different plants and bits and pieces, so I just ended up doing like a little half wall planter with a fountain. I thought that was really cute, and it worked. And again, just simple, but it worked, right? Effective. And I'm just creating the little barbecue area. So I just to differentiate it from the porch a little bit, I stepped it down one level. So it's like a platform, but it's like, boom, down one level. So the Sims have got like a little step down. And then I've just created a fence in behind the barbecue, just to create like a little actual barbecue area. And I could put some stuff on the fence, and hang up some knives and bits and pieces there, and just create, it's just a cute little entertainment area, country style. And remember that I am working on a budget in this build as well. So I am, you can sort of see that in the corner of the screen there. I'm adding things, and it's just like ticking away, because we've got the Sims on the lot, and we are using their funds to build this limited budget lot and renovate it. But in the end, I did not struggle with this at all as far as budget goes. I will say I did use quite a bit of debug. So like the fencing around all of the outside is debug. So debug is zero cost in this instance. So, that did make it easier. I believe the trees would probably be all debug, and a lot of the plants would be debug around the place. So, as far as the landscaping goes, that cost very little, because I was using items from the debug menu. And that did help. I wasn't doing that to save money. I was just doing that because that's where the items are that I wanted to use. So, that was just basically that. It wasn't a case of the fact that I was trying to save money. In this instance, it was just simply that's where the items were that I wanted to use. And that was it. I created this cute little rug. Like, look at this little rug. It's just kind of like 3 rugs stacked together. So the half circle rug back to back, and then like the little sleepy rug in the middle of it. It's just kind of cute. I was like, oh, that's cute. And I was building this as a family home, because I knew the Sims that were moving in here, and I knew what the makeup of the family was. So we've got the little toddler, and we've got the 2 female Sims moving in there. So I knew their dislikes and dislikes, and that did make it easier in terms of decorating the home, and knowing that I needed to add some stuff for the kids, or for the kid around the place, and make sure that I had that for him. So, and each of the Sims had their colours and their furniture and their hobbies, and, that they liked and disliked, and, stuff like that. So trying to make that all work for them. And adding the terrain paint in, and then I've got to start deciding on what to do with the doors and the windows. I'm just currently hoping at this point that I remember to colour that planter at the front door, because at this point I don't think I have. And I'm just like watching it going, have I painted that? Have I painted that? I don't know that I did. Oh, I really hope I did. I hate missing stuff like that. It drives me a little bit bonkers. And if I have missed it, I'll go through it, just pull it from the gallery and fix it and put it back up again, because I don't like missing stuff like that. Anyway, this is my little entertainment area, and I'm just adding in the holiday lights that I was talking about. So this is from the holiday pack, which I'm just saying is base game. So, but that's technically where you find it. I'm not going to start this again. I'm not starting it again, sorry. I'm not going to start pedantically picking apart base game holiday pack. It's one of those things that just sends me on a twirling, whirling roundabout in my head. Deep breaths, Velvet, deep breaths. It's okay. Let it go. It's base game. So just finishing up the decorating on the outside, and yeah, it's basically just the bits and pieces on the porch. I think I saw that planter was painted when we went around there. Yes, it's painted. Ah, phew. I was honestly genuinely worried about that. I was like, oh no, is that because that's the kind of thing I could possibly miss. Like, I try my very best not to miss stuff like that, but you know, sometimes you can look at something and not see it. Does that make sense? Like, you know, when you've spent so long looking at something and then all of a sudden you just can't see the forest for the trees is probably the best way to put that. And I always found that whenever I'm writing, is that, you know, when you're looking for typos and when you're sort of doing a bit of editing and you're looking for typos, and basically you just can't see them for looking, like they're right there in front of you, and you're just like, I read this like 30 times and I still did not see this typo. It's like it's a miracle. So I mentioned that this section here I had to go back and change, because the fencing that I put there originally just kind of disappeared. So I used like I think it's just a base game pole is probably the best way to put that. So it's like a column, a pole. It's like one that you can just kind of float around wherever. And I've just kind of stacked it. Because with this particular challenge, I'm not allowed to add to the exterior walls. So if I want to add to the exterior walls, I kind of have to make fake ones. And that's what I did there. So just creating like fake walls. Normally I kind of do that with the Eco Lifestyle pack. They have these vertical slats, and they actually are really easy to make fake walls with. But because I wasn't using that particular pack in this build, I had to get a little bit creative about how I was creating those fake walls. And I could do it with also half walls. So, you know, you're allowed to add half walls to it if you wanted to. But I didn't. That's the way I went. So amazingly, we are moving to the inside. So on the interior, we are looking at 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. And one of the colours that the Sims like was pink. You'd think it was blue, but it wasn't at all. It was pink. But because the cottage living kitchen had that hint of pink, I thought, you know what, that could actually really work. And I don't know, it was kind of funny, because normally I'd have no problems building with darker colours, because a lot of the colours that the clients moving in here, the Sims, liked were quite dark. So it was like blacks, purples, pinks, I think yellow and red. I think those were the colours. And I don't know what it is in my head, but when I'm told that I have to do things a particular way, or that I have to use particular colours, there's just something that triggers in my head where I go, no, but I don't want to. Does anybody else have that, where you're just like where you're just like doing a challenge and you're told to do things a certain way, or, you know, within the certain boundaries of it, and you're just like, I don't know, you're just like, no, I don't want to. And it was very much the case in this build. It's just like, I just don't want to build with those colours in this build. I did try to bring them through. So I didn't ignore the fact that we were supposed to work to what the colours were that the clients liked. I did not ignore that at all. You'll see those colours start to come through in the build. Not the colour black. I didn't bring that through in this build at all. There was just no black. And this is kind of funny, because this is you're talking about a person, Velvet here, who absolutely loves to build with black. I love building with black. But because I was given the option to build with black, I just instantly went, no, I don't want to. And this is what I'm talking about with my brain. I don't know what is wrong with it, but as soon as I'm given a rule, I'm just working out how to get around it. I do this with challenges as well, and I don't know why. It's just some kind of rebel part of me that's just like, I'm gonna rebel against those instructions and do what I want to do. Oh, I don't know. I'm just funny like that. Anyway, I did work to the colours, to some of the other colours that the Sims did like. It's just not the colour black. So you'll see pops of red, a little bit of red around the place. You'll see pink and yellow. So primarily, I think pink and yellow were the colours, main colours that I worked with. And the toddler room, I ended up going green because the toddlers can't have the likes and dislikes. But the toddler was wearing green. So I'm like, well, the toddler must like green then. and gave the toddler a green room. I think that's fairly logical though, right? I feel like that is. I was initially going to go a different color for his room, but then I was like, looked at what he was wearing. I was like, you know what? I'm going green because he's wearing green. So that was that. So I did build a little walk-in closet area. So this is just what I'm working on here, because I thought it kind of made sense to me for a cottage to have like a little mud room where they would come in and they'd maybe shuck off their outdoor clothes, because you know they've been out there working with the cows and the chickens and doing a little bit in the garden, or maybe running around, and yeah, they just kind of needed an area to get rid of those outdoor clothes and, you know, then move on to their inside world where it's a lot cleaner and they don't want to have mud trucked through the house and, you know, all that sort of thing. So I thought a good sized mud room made a lot of sense, and I had that perfect little area by the door, and I was just like, you know what, perfect for a mud room, and this is going to keep the house a lot cleaner, and we can just kind of, you know, storage area, mud room kind of area, that sort of thing. And then moving on, what do we do here? That's right, living room. So the living room, yeah, the kitchen, dining, living is just kind of bundle up together. I knew I definitely wanted to have a fireplace because I felt like a cottage, the cozy feelings of a fireplace mixed with a cottage, it just kind of, they go hand in hand, right? You're going to have a cozy cottage, you're going to have a lovely warm fireplace just to keep you nice and toasty during the colder months. So I like the idea of a really nice fireplace, but I didn't really have the space to do a big proper living room, or more properly, I did have the space, I just didn't use it that way. If that makes sense. So yeah, so I just kind of did like a cute little living area mixed in with the dining and the kitchen, and I felt that was really cozy. By the way, if you don't have very many packs or you only work with base game, there is actually a debug little stackable wood, which you can see there by the fireplace, and that is base game. And I think, off the top of my head, I think if you type in fire into the search bar and you've got debug activated, I think that will pop up. Don't quote me on that though, but possibly. But there's definitely like the little debug wood, and you can actually stack it up and create like a little firewood stack. So if you are wondering how I did that, it's simply a debug item, and you just stack them up, and you've got yourself a nice little stack of firewood without having to go to the werewolf pack, which the werewolf pack actually has like this little bundle of wood that you can put by the fire, and it's really handy, and I use it all the time when I have access to that pack. But because I was doing this limited pack build, that was not the case. So I went with my alternative, which is the base game version. And there is a base game version. See, I didn't need all these other packs. I just needed the 3 packs. It was all hunky-dory. And I kind of did like, again, a second little mud room, I guess. And it's just kind of like more of a storage area. Like, again, you know, just bringing in the little bits and pieces and the tools, just keeping them out of the weather, because they don't actually have a shed as such with this particular build. So, this is me just trying out an idea. I was just like, can I get this concept to work? And then I was like, yes, I can. So this is actually a little shelving unit from Life and Death. And by moving it kind of partway through the wall, you can actually stack a TV up in the on the inside, and I'm pretty sure I play tested it and it does work just fine like that. And it's basically like a proper TV cabinet around it. It does kind of have to go back in through the wall to be able to make that work. So because I didn't have anything in behind that wall, I was able to do that, which was quite good. But in the other instance where I've done this, I did this in another house the other day, and it was on the inside and it did have something else on the other side. But what I did is I just flipped a second cabinet around on the other side of the wall, and they like had back-to-back cabinets, so you couldn't tell that I'd actually put one of the cabinets halfway through the wall. Hopefully that made sense. So there's like two cabinets back to back, so I could have like one cabinet with the TV in the middle of it on one side, and then I used the cabinet for storage in a bathroom, as it turns out, on the other side. So yeah, it's quite a cool little trick. You will see that from me again. No doubt. I sort of, sometimes you just get this little collection of tricks as a builder. As you do more and more builds, you collect these little tricks and things that you can do, and different bits and pieces that you can come up with different items in the game. And yeah, that repertoire slowly grows and grows as you get on with doing more builds and become a more seasoned builder, I guess is the is the thing with that. I'm getting there as a builder, right? I think so. So this is the toddler's room. So the toddler's room is downstairs. I generally prefer, where I can, I mean, it's not always possible in a house, but where I can in a house, it's preferable for me to have the kids' room, if they are sort of infant, toddler kind of age, on the lower levels. And the reason for that is toddlers actually don't start out with the ability to be able to walk up and down stairs. Toddlers can't do that until they hit level 2 movement. So what happens is, obviously the toddlers get a little bit stuck upstairs, unless you've got your sim sort of carrying them up and down the stairs initially. So I feel like it is a lot better for toddlers to be on the bottom level, so as they're developing their movement skills, they can actually get around the house and on the lower levels, and they can get to the food. You can pull the food out of the fridge for them, and they'll go and eat it and blah blah blah, and be happy little campers, wandering around doing their things. But when they're on the second level and they can't get down to the kitchen, that becomes a little bit more of a problem for gameplay. So I am conscious of that as a player, because I have my gameplay series. I play the 100 Baby Challenge, so I'm actually really familiar with what the toddlers can and can't do. And I often look for ways to make it a lot easier for the player to deal with, things like toddlers. If they're going to have a toddler in the house, having the toddler be able to basically care for themselves does make life a little easier, just depending on what your gameplay is and how involved you want to be. Now you can sort of see the colours starting to pop in there. So in each of the little tower corners or circles, or what's the word for that? I don't know. The little circular towery things. I'm actually going to put like a little office area. So one is going to be pink, and I think one is going to be, it's initially red, but then I think I changed it to yellow because I was just like, I can't do red. It's too bright. I couldn't do it. This is such a soft toned house as far as the colors go, and bringing in like the harshness of the blacks and the reds, it was just too much. It just wasn't going to suit the house. So, I just kind of had to really carefully balance any darker colors that I put in here, because it just really was not going to work. Also, this is me just remembering the stairs. I completely forgot to put the stairs in. And this is not the first time I've done this either. I forgot stairs fairly recently as well in another build, and I'm just like, normally stairs are actually the first thing I put in before I do the floor plan. But obviously I just completely forgot when I was doing the floor plan, and it was just kind of like, oh no. I got to this point and I'm just like, hang on, stairs, darn it. It's like, well, whoopsies. Just like, I'm not gonna say it's not a thing I don't do, no, hang on, that sentence was going to be full of negatives and made no sense, so I'll just yeet that sentence right at the door. It's not going to make any sense. So I was initially going to do like a cute little table area upstairs, but it just kind of made no sense. I didn't really need a cute little table area upstairs. It just had no purpose to be there, and I was like, I think I'm going to turn that into into another little office area. So that's what I end up doing with that, rather than keeping it with the table. And so what's upstairs is you've got one bathroom, two bedrooms, and again another little office area there. So this is me working out what color I'm going to go. So I'm initially going red, and you'll see that evolve again because I decided it was just way too harsh for this build. Everything else is like really soft, and then I'm bringing in this really sharp, harsh red, and it's just like, nah, doesn't work. Anyway, we'll get there with that. So what have I got in the bedroom? So downstairs we've got the toddler bedroom, and then upstairs we've got one single bedroom. So that's kind of like a guest bedroom. And then the other bedroom is the master bedroom, which has the double bed. So, yeah. I actually really did like the red with that green chair, because the chair had those red little roses on it, and it was actually really cute. And it was kind of the saving grace for this area, as far as me debating whether or not I wanted to keep that colour. Because I was kind of like, I'm just sitting there thinking about it, and then I'm like, no, I can't do the red. It's not working for me. Even though I really, really love that chair with the red, like it was really nice, I was just like, with the rest of the house, this room makes absolutely no sense, so it had to go, which is a shame. I think, another time I might do the red with the green with that chair, because I thought it was super pretty, but not today. Today is not that day. So this is the single bedroom upstairs, and yeah, I did sort of think of this more as a guest bedroom, and I did a really cool thing with a painting that I really liked, and I don't know if you guys will like it as well, but I thought it was actually like super cute, and I'm definitely going to do that again. I always forget about the fact that we have those freestanding shutters. I think they came with Horse Ranch, and you'll see me use them on the wall very shortly, and yeah, I always forget that they exist, but they're actually quite handy, because you can kind of turn any window into like a little bit more of a country style window with the shutters on it, which I think is really cool. I like the flexibility of that, and we need more items like that in the game, where you kind of have like freestanding columns, or just like a pole, like a horizontal pole and a vertical pole that you can just kind of move around and do different things with. It's just good for creativity and bits and pieces. This is the thing I was talking about with the painting. I thought of this idea of just using the shutters on either side and pretending that the picture is a window, and this is the view out the window, even though it is just a picture. That was kind of the idea of what I was going for. It's just like, it was supposed to imitate like looking out the window with these cute little shutters off to the side. So I thought that was a cute idea. So I don't know if you guys think it's cute, but I think it's cute. I like it. And I was just using these little paintings as a bit of decoration, just using the immaculate shelving. I use the immaculate shelving all of the time. I love that shelving. Just, again, it's just one of those flexibility things, because it's just a plain plank of wood, and it's got no decorations on it, nothing beyond that. It's just plain, immaculate, one might say, and you can just do a whole lot of things with that one plank of wood. And that's what give us builders some really simple, basic building blocks, things that we can just move around, and we can add to things, and we can be creative and make our own things with it using the items that we have in the game. Just using the cheats, don't need any mods, don't need anything beyond just move objects cheat, and that's it. And we can just, combine things and do little bits and pieces. You'll see this here. I'm going to use the immaculate shelving here just to change the colour of the shoe rack. It's a simple little trick, but it's quite effective, and it's quite nice to have that light shelving where we don't have the option in game. So, just those little things we can turn into creative options. I don't know, I'd love them in the game. I think it'd be great. So, yeah. That's just my feeling on it, although, banging on about it as a builder. but I am a builder, and that's the kind of thing I like to bang on about, so I guess it's one of those things. But we are coming towards the end of the build. So this is the master bedroom, and we are doing this in pink because one of the colors that the Sims did like was pink. So I was like, well, you know what? I am going to try and be my best little Velvet and follow the rules and, do cater a little bit to the likes and dislikes of the Sims. So I am adding, the little touches of pink. Now, these are the, in base game, you can collect the little skulls, and they're part of the Day of the Dead celebration, I think it is. The sugar skull offerings that you can do at graves. Anyway, that's the collectible shelf that you can put those on. But it's also a handy little bookshelf. So I'm just sliding the books across using the towel rack, as you can see there. And you can just change all the colours of the books. And look at that, we've got a really pretty, cute little bookshelf there. Ta-da! That actually looks really nice and white. Some of the other colours are a lot harder to kind of disguise the fact it's supposed to be a skull collection shelf. But in the white, it actually just looks like a pretty shelf, and you can just add the books to it, and it's just like, it's a different shelf. It's good. So what have we got left to do? I think we've just got the bathroom left to do and up here. I did initially want to go pink in the bathroom, but I tried the pink, and it was just kind of like, Also, the curtain options, not so good. But anyway, we work with what we've got. Oh dear. But yeah, I did try to go pink in the bathroom, but you'll see I just ended up, I think, going white and adding a few bits and pieces. I was, going to go life and death pink, but again, it was just too dark a pink. It just looked far too vibrant for this softer house. So it was kind of like, oh, nah, I don't think so. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys there. I think we're about done and heading to screenshots very soon after we finish this bathroom. So I just want to say a big thank you to you all for watching this far in. I hope you guys have had fun watching that and seeing me be a little bit creative with this build. And also thank you to Nasina for hosting this fabulous challenge. I always like a good renovation challenge or a good shell challenge. So, it's a lot of fun. I don't always have the time to do all of them that I find, but I do like to participate when I can. So I had a lot of fun with that. And don't forget to go check out Nasina's YouTube channel if you get the chance. I will tag her below so you guys can find her as well. So thank you again for watching. Remember to hit like, subscribe, comment on the build as well, and I will hopefully catch you in the next one. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you later. Bye bye.